Okay, so many of these episodes have started with me saying that the MLS is really good this year, or better than ever, or whatever. And this time, I have proof, as so far there have been 6% less draws to start this season compared to last. Believe the numbers, if you don't believe me. And oh yeah, I'm Adrian, by the way, and welcome to Rabona TV's MLS Review, where we look at all the happenings from the weekend's action. With that said, let's get started. Friday night saw Vancouver and Real Salt Lake kick off the weekend's action. Coming into this match, Vancouver had lost 3 straight, leaking 10 goals and scoring just once. Mind you, over 50% of those goals were conceded against Sporting KC. RSL, on the other hand, have a checkered start to this season, alternating between wins and losses. Well, that continued as they lost 2-0 in Vancouver. RSL threatened 20 minutes in, having a shot come off at the bar, and then Marinovic did well to collect the second attempt. And RSL continued to threaten in the first half, with Plata testing Marinovic again and again. In the second half, however, Vancouver began to impose themselves, and Brek Shea's strike hit the crossbar, bounced across the face of goal, and kissed the post before being cleared out. It felt like a matter of time before the hosts would score in the second half, and they got the breakthrough via a Christian Techera penalty. And then Anthony Blondell finished off a great play from Alphonso Davies to make it 2-0. The hype is pretty real around Davies. And that was also Blondell's first MLS goal. Montreal, my team. I love you, but God, are you ever awful. Yet decent at times. I don't know. It's hard to explain with Montreal, but the bottom line is that the crap outweighs the good. And that's certainly what happened in Atlanta, hosting Montreal at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in front of 45,000 fans. Montreal actually took the lead through Safir Taider and looked decent in the first half. But in the second, Miguel Almiron took over, and there was no question who would win this thing. First, a penalty for Atlanta was converted by Almiron. Kind of unfortunate. Kevin Kratz came off the bench and scored a free kick with just his 3rd touch in the game. Almiron scored another one after a fortunate bounce fell to his feet, and Kratz killed the game in the 94th with a second free kick. Business as usual here, sure. Montreal are missing 2 of their best center backs in Diallo and Fanny, and yeah, they can attack decently at times, but there's still far too many issues in defense. Plus, this Atlanta team is just so far ahead of any teams I've seen in the MLS. Almiron, Villalba, Barco, Gressel, Martinez, etc. It's not fair. They're an example of how clubs should be moving forward as far as management and recruitment go within the MLS. Signing Tata Martino was arguably one of their biggest and most important decisions ever. In fact, early doors, and I know it's still very early, I get that, but they are looking even stronger than the defending champs and treble winners, Toronto FC. Toronto had an extremely strange lineup for their home match against Chicago. So again, take what you will from this match, as a few players were rested after their CONCACAF Champions League loss. However, by the time halftime hit, Toronto fans would be excused for thinking their team was back to normal, as Giovinco assisted Osorio for his first goal of the season, and Michael Bradley, playing as a center back in this one by the way, completely mishit a strike on goal. Not the first time that has happened recently, hey? Sorry. Which fell kindly to Vasquez, whose far post lob found its way into the back of the net. Jury's out on whether he meant to do it, but hey, who cares? 2-0 Toronto. Chicago had a chance to pull one back via a penalty in the 37th minute, but Bono saved Schweinsteiger's penalty. Chicago kept on fighting and got 2 goals via set plays in the second half. The first was headed home by Schweinsteiger, redemption for the penalty, and the second was also headed in the 94th minute by Alan Gordon. 2-2 it ended. So, Toronto sit in last place in the East while Chicago have moved up to 7th. Like I say, every single week I say this. We can't really judge this Toronto side just yet. Patience, people. They're gonna come around. Philly vs DC United offered up more excitement than you would have thought when looking at the weekend's schedule. 2 teams that aren't expected to make massive moves this season, but it was DC who struck first after 7 minutes when Zoltan Stieber put away a perfect through ball from Luciano Acosta. But the hosts weren't about to roll over, oh no, and wanted to get the doo-doos out. And they did, 30 minutes later when a deflected Il Signo pass found its way to the back of the net. And by doo-doos, I mean the song they always play when Philly score, do-do-do. Anyways, Philly took the lead in the second half when CJ Sapong scored his 2nd of the season, but the pesky DC United weren't finished, as Stieber became the setup man this time, playing a perfect ball into Darren Maddox just 2 minutes after Maddox was subbed on. 2 2. But Philly had the last laugh here as Borek Dokal smashed home a near post strike that was the eventual winner in this one, in what was their second win of the season. DC still has just the one win so far this season, and any optimism that came from their win against Columbus 2 weeks ago may have been washed out with the Olsen out brigade back in full force. Speaking of Columbus, they finally got back to their winning ways after going winless for 4 matches, as they hosted the struggling San Jose Earthquakes, who haven't won a single match since their opening weekend victory. Columbus's hero on this occasion was the returning from injury Mike Grelaino, who scored in the 84th minute to lift Columbus over San Jose and out of their winless slump. Just a little quickie there, you know, you gotta switch it up every once in a while. Can't speak about all of them at length. Otherwise we'll get super long videos like last week's. Anyways, perhaps the biggest surprise of this weekend happened in Foxborough. But can we still say it's a surprise? We'll see. As New England welcomed the top team from the West, Sporting KC. New England, I gotta put my hand up and give them props because they're doing so much better than I expected them to under Brad Friedel. Way better. New England had the more dangerous chances in the first half actually, with the eventual winner in this match being extremely bizarre, as Teal Bunbury collected a pass from Diego Fagundes, or was it from Fagundes, and turned and slotted it home despite believing himself that he was offside. I mean, just look at his body language. And the commentator?
Bunbury, it won't be a goal. It won't be a goal.
So, what happened here? Well, the referee had judged the ball to have come off of Espinoza last. Therefore, with it being a deliberate attempt at playing the ball, it doesn't matter that Bunbury was in an offside position. Pretty whack goal, but technically legal if Espinoza did indeed touch it last. Even Friedel's reaction is priceless. Some serious confused Travolta vibes there. And that was actually the winner in this match, strangely enough. Pretty lame winner, but hey, take them however you can. And it's not as if New England weren't deserving of the victory in this one. They played really well against Sporting KC. So that's SKC's second loss of the season and New England's 4th victory, as they're kicking it up in 4th place in the East right now. Props to Brad Friedel, man. Hey, Minnesota were back at home and hosting the Houston Dynamo in search of their first win in 4 matches. Previously, they had lost 4 matches in a row, but it's not as if they were getting completely destroyed in each match. They were still pretty competitive, losing a couple of them only by a goal. And the guy who will make them even more competitive this season is their new DP, Darwin Quintero, as he scored the equalizer from the penalty spot in the 40th minute. Prior to that, Halberth Ellis put the visitors ahead just 10 minutes into the match, finishing off a beautifully squared ball from Romel Kyoto, the Kyoto Protocol. Get it? Hey. Ellis almost got a second in the 65th minute when his point-blank header was somehow saved by Bobby Shuttleworth, and just 5 minutes later, Minnesota found the go-ahead goal, and how, man? This for me is the goal of the week, as a beautiful passing play saw Ibsen finish with a backheel flick into the far corner that no keeper nor defender was able to keep out. So, the 4-match losing streak was snapped for Minnesota as they got their 3rd win of this season as Adrian Heath turns things around for now. I'm still not convinced that he's the dude to lead this team, but hey, we'll have to see. Sparks were flying in LA, well, in Carson, as the Galaxy hosted Bradley Wright Phillips and the New York Red Bulls. Coming into this one, the Galaxy had lost 2 straight matches at home and were looking to turn things around. However, Bradley Wright Phillips did his best to ruin things, as against the run of play, he picked out Daniel Royer at the far post with a beautiful ball that Royer easily tucked in for an early bedtime, 1-0. Just a couple minutes later, the Galaxy equalized, but Ola Kamara was adjudged to have been offside, so Alessandrini's goal wouldn't count. Unlucky, but the right call by the referee in the end. In the second half, BWP was back at it again with the perfect setup, as this time he found himself with too much space in behind the Galaxy defenders and played a perfectly squared ball to Valo, who made no mistake and doubled the visitors' lead. But just 10 minutes later, Zlatan played an inch-perfect through ball to Ola Kamara, who was onside this time, and he touched the ball past a stranded Robles, 2-1, as the Scandinavians linked up quite nicely there. Ola Kamara is Norwegian, as you'll remember. 6 minutes after that, Zlatan took a corner, which 1, that's kind of weird, don't you want him in the box? And 2, it was actually a really well-delivered corner, and Romney headed down to Gio Dos Santos to smash it in for 2-2. I didn't actually get to watch this match, so maybe he just took it because he was standing close to it, I don't know. But from 2-0 down to 2-2, but then the Galaxy got in on a little self-sabotage when Romney went to ground to block a cross, but he did so with his arms up in the air. And the ball struck said arms, and balls touching arms in the air is a mega no-no. Ale Gamara, aka Kaku, stepped up to take the penalty and he placed it perfectly out of the reach for Bingham, and the Red Bulls grabbed their 4th win of the season. In turn, they dealt the LA Galaxy their 3rd straight loss at home. As Zlatan put it, it's unacceptable for LA to lose 3 matches in a row at home. All 3 while Zlatan has been in the lineup. So clearly, there's still some figuring out to do there as far as a system that works for everybody. Well, just when we all thought that this was the beginning of the end for Jason Kratz in Orlando. He goes on a little 4-match winning run, 3 of which were at home. So how did Orlando do when they traveled away to Colorado this weekend? A Colorado team that was fresh off of a 3-0 loss to Real Salt Lake and looking for redemption. But pretty well, actually. They did quite well. Colorado had never scored a single goal against Orlando coming into this match, which is crazy, right? But history was changed in the 25th minute when an informed Dominic Badgie, the tastiest Badgie of them all, found himself in alone on Big Joe Bendik, and he rolled the ball coolly into the far corner to make it 1-0. That was his 5th goal from 7 appearances so far this season. Poor Justin. Can we take a minute of silence for Justin Miram? Okay, that's good. He came close yet again to opening his account with Orlando, but close isn't good enough as his long-range strike found only the post in the 50th minute. But just 1 minute later, Christian Higuita's strike from the 18 found the top corner to even it up at 1-1. That shot put Zach McMath straight into the fetal position. And in the 77th, the rest of Colorado were put into the fetal position when Yotun was brought down in the box clumsily by Dylan Cerna. Unfortunate, but ultimately the right call. Yotun took the ensuing penalty, and did he ever take it perfectly? 2-1 Orlando, and that's how this one ended. So, Orlando are one of the hottest teams in the league right now as they extend their winning streak to 5 straight. Speaking of hot teams, okay, this is sounding funny now, but New York City FC welcomed the unbeaten FC Dallas to the tiny little baseball diamond that they like playing on. And they like playing there so much that they took the lead just 3 minutes in, when David Villa's great work led to Jesus Medina putting away Joe Burgett's rebound. That was Medina's first MLS goal and just his 2nd appearance for New York. Just 6 minutes later, however, Maxi Urruti did well to make space for Mosquera to get a strike on goal, and his low-driven effort just squeaked under Sean Johnson and into the net. That was Mosquera's first goal of the season, and you got the feeling that maybe Dallas could make a really good match of this. And for the most part, they did. As you could argue that they had the more dangerous chances on the day, but just couldn't convert and were more wasteful. That's on them. And in the 32nd minute, a penalty was awarded to New York when Tinnerholm's strike went off of the hand of Ziegler. I thought it was a little harsh, to be honest with you, but it was given, and El Guaje converted the ensuing penalty to make it 2-1. That was David Villa's 400th career goal in club competitions, and what a legend he is. And he furthered his legend in the second half when Hedges and Ziegler got their wires crossed and Villa emerged with the ball all alone on Maurer, making no mistake to score his 401st career goal. Outstanding. 3-1, and that's how this one ended, with New York holding on to their 1-point lead on Atlanta at the top of the East. Atlanta does have a game in hand, mind you. And finally, Seattle traveled to the Bank of California Stadium, the home of LAFC, for the first match ever played in said stadium. All of the chances were going in Seattle's favor early on, as there were multiple close calls in the LAFC area. What a shame it would have been for the fans if the first goal ever scored in their new stadium was scored by a Seattle player. And remember, these two teams actually played each other early this season when LAFC scored their first ever goals in the MLS on the opening match day at CenturyLink Field. So, Seattle is a bit of a team of firsts for LAFC, as late in the match, Laurent Simon's seemingly not so dangerous free kick from about 35 yards out bounced off of Stephen Fry's arms and into the net. A freak goal, and a fortunate one at that, but a goal indeed for the win they need. Why am I rhyming? This match wasn't without some controversy, as there was some shoddy refereeing at times, and some LAFC fans kept on chanting "Puto" at every opportunity they could get, which, come on guys, leave it out. Alright, so this week's Rabona TV MLS Player of the Week has to go to David Villa for netting not only his 400th career goal at the club level, but his 401st as well. There's no debate here for me. He's an incredible player, and his attitude since joining the MLS has been superb as well, as he clearly loves being in this league, and he's actually stood up for it, while other pros from around the world have tried to put it down and call it a retirement league and shit. So congrats to El Guaje. Alright my friends, another week over. How did your team do? Hopefully better than mine. Montreal, who got trashed by Atlanta. If you enjoyed this video, then drop a like. Join me tomorrow for a Champions League watch along if you fancy, and I'll see you later. Peace.